Don't you love it when things are both easier and more affordable? Like when the rain washes your car for you. Or like when you save up to 10% by bundling your renters and auto insurance with USAA. Bundle with USAA and start saving. Get a quote today.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
This is the plaintiff, Rebecca Cepeda. She says she and one of the defendants were co-workers, and they were supposed to go on a trip to Puerto Rico together. Unfortunately, an argument ensued before the trip. She ended up staying in a different house, and now the defendant won't return her money. The defendant's carrying on like a baby, lost her job over it, and is now going to lose this case because she's owed $1,200 and expects the judge to award it to her today. These are the defendants, Tina Carson and Katrina Pinter. Tina says the plaintiff bailed on her 1 week before the trip because she wasn't happy with the sleeping arrangements. The plaintiff's the one who messed everything up. The deposits she gave were non-refundable, and there's no way this girl deserves a penny of her money back. They're accused of taking advantage of a former co-worker. The defendants have filed a countersuit for $843 for airline tickets and a vacation rental.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Milian in our forum, the People's Court.
Be seated. Come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas. Rebecca Cepeda? You are say it again.
Cepeda. Cepeda.
Yeah, it's Cepeda, but if you want me to say Cepeda, I will.
Cepeda.
Okay, Rebecca Cepeda. You are suing Tina Carson and Katrina Pinter?
Yes, ma'am.
For $1,200, the cost of a rental, $400 per person. You're suing on behalf of 3 people?
Yes.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that in a minute. You're counterclaiming against, the 2 of you are counterclaiming against her $843 that you had to pay in difference for airfare because she canceled your flights. Okay, so this started off as a wonderful, fun birthday trip. It was your birthday and someone else's birthday.
It was my cousin's birthday, but she's not present today.
And all of you were going to have this great trip where?
In Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico, all right. And so how did you all know each other?
Through work. We all worked together.
All right. So you were going off on this trip to Puerto Rico for how long?
We were going for about 6 days.
All right. Now, who found the rental place? You
I did.
Right. And that had how many bedrooms?
It has 3 bedrooms.
And how many people were supposed to be going on this flight?
There's going to be 6 of us.
6 of you. And then at
7.
Okay. And so why was that a problem?
Because they refused to stay with their friend that they invited that none of my friends knew. And I said, go ahead.
They refused to stay with
their friend in one room that they invited. None of my friends knew her friend. I agreed that she can come. That's not my issue. It's an open place. Why would I not say that your friend can come? You know what I'm saying? I want us all to have fun. I'm not that type of person. That's not my character. I don't disinclude anybody.
Right.
So
and
when
she refused to what?
She refused to stay in the room with her friend. There was 2 beds in one room. And that was for her and her friend and her friend.
Wait, who decides who gets what room?
We made an agreement.
Beforehand?
Yes, and that's in via text messages. She knew I was supposed to get the master suite for my birthday. I even was considerate to switch rooms after my birthday.
Let me see if I understand. Was she always going to get the master?
Her?
Yeah.
No. She was going to share a room with her friend.
Who was going to get the master?
Me and my cousin.
The entire time?
No. I was even considerate to switch with her, but I was supposed to get it.
I want to know what the original agreement was. If everybody had divvied up, can you stop a second? Let me listen to my question. Had everybody divvied up who's going to get what room at that point, before, at the early point?
Yes.
All right, and then you and your cousin were supposed to get the master?
Yes.
And the master had a balcony?
Yes, from what I was aware of.
So at some point, your story is that at some point she switches and she says, I want the master.
Yes.
And that's where the problem happened.
Yes.
And you said you have texts that prove that she's the one who was switching the arrangements.
Yes.
Okay, let me see. What are you, exasperated with me?
No.
Oh, good. All right.
I'm not.
So I'd like to see the text actually in a phone rather than printed out because I want
I
to
don't
make
have my phone. I printed everything. I had this thread from the investigation, and I don't have the thread in my phone anymore. I deleted it. I had investigation at work, and I already had this printed out.
Investigation at work?
Yeah.
Over what?
Because her friend decided to come up to the job to try to antagonize me and start problems with me. After my boss was aware of the situation, he sent me back up to work to continue to work. She was already supposed to leave. I come in at 3:45, she leaves at 4 o'clock. There's no reason for you to be lingering around telling your friend to come up there to try to threaten me after you got confronted because you refused to give me my money back.
How did this work out in terms of the trip? How soon before the trip is the problem happening?
She caused an uproar a week before, asking me about the sleeping arrangements. If you thought
Let me see the text.
Okay.
Do you have the text in your phone?
Yes.
Let me see them in your phone.
It's from here.
Okay, thank you.
So now what's this? Is this a picture of you? Is this you going bang, bang?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. Bang, bang. I can't even read it. I can't. This is before the trip.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. That's conducive to people staying together on a trip and having fun. What was this about? Did you know about this?
I don't know what that is.
Oh, well, let's see it. What is that? And when did you send that?
I don't remember the exact day, but it was after everything happened with Rebecca and Ari. They got fired from work because Ari and Rebecca went up
Wait,
there.
did you get fired?
I got fired.
Yes,
I lost
ma'am.
my job.
Did you get fired before the trip?
Yes.
Yes.
How did you get fired?
Because at my workplace, there's no
Zero toleration.
zero toleration.
Yeah, but it's why, how come she didn't get fired?
She did.
Oh, she got fired too?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
No, I
What-
didn't.
Both
I
of you are
resigned.
saying no.
I resigned. You want to see my paperwork?
Oh, no, I believe you got fired now.
Yeah, basically.
All right, and did you get fired or you don't work there? You don't work there. Everybody got fired. No, okay, that's fair. If everybody got fired. So everybody got fired. Wow.
You have
and
my
then
paperwork.
how is?
I resigned, miss.
Did you call me Miss?
Mrs.
Mrs. If I was a man, what would you call me?
Mr.
Really? Would you call a judge Mister?
Judge, I'm sorry.
Right. If I was a man, you'd call me judge, right? Okay. This is your phone.
Yes.
Okay. On March 20th, you text her a bunch of texts saying, I'm not trying to fight with you. Let's not fight over this. We had agreed that we'd have, I don't know, you don't seem to be, you seem to be fighting over whether you guys have one room. I don't see the argument over the master thing. But I see your text in response, I'm getting my own hotel room. I don't care. You guys can argue about it. Count me out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't want any drama.
Okay, this is 20 days before the trip, and she responds, oh my God, stop, you're making a big deal when it's not. I'm not trying to fight with you right now before we leave. And your answer is, not really, it's my birthday, so I'll buy my own hotel room. I'm not selfish or greedy. You're bugging for no reason, don't be overly dramatic, and I'm out. All right, so you decide that you're not going to go through with staying there 10 days beforehand. All right, now let me hear from you. What was the problem here?
Okay, we all booked a trip together. I put the flights under my name. She put the flights under her card. I put the house under my name. We all exchanged money for whatever we each paid for. 7 days prior to leaving, we got into the fight, which was on the 21st of March. That's when they came into my job trying to
I
forward
worked
my
there.
money.
No, excuse me. Go ahead.
That's
They
when
what?
Ariana and Rebecca both came into my job while I was on the clock. They came into the deli. They asked me, we need to talk. Rebecca said, I need to talk to you outside. I went to the hallway. When I went into the hallway, that's when Ariana was standing out there, her friend that's sitting over there. I talked to them.
Was she one of the people who was supposed to be at the trip?
Yes.
Okay.
What do you mean?
Hey! You obviously have an anger problem because you can't even shut up while another witness is testifying. And then you roll your eyes at me every time I ask you to stop doing that. You have a counterclaim. And your
Yes.
counterclaim is against her because, as it turns out, the original arrangement was you would be putting the house on your credit card, and you would be is it a house or a condo?
It was a condo.
Condo on your credit card, and you would be putting all of the flights on your credit card. And then everybody settled up, right?
Yep, we exchanged money.
So now here you are. You've been fired. Both of you, well, you've been fired. You've resigned at the same time as, the problem. And then you find out that she has canceled
Yes.
the flights
Yes.
on you.
And I had the cancel.
How did you find out she canceled the flights?
Because I got an email, because everything was under my email. Even though she put it on her card, it's still.
She didn't text you to say, I'm canceling your flights?
She didn't cancel. No.
No. So she just goes out and cancels your flights.
Yes.
And then you get the email because it's your email that's associated with the
Yes.
flight info. Did you cancel their flights?
I canceled their flights, but I did not get a refund. They continued to
No,
rebook
so
it.
you did cancel
Yes.
their flight. Why did you cancel their flight?
I told Katrina I was canceling her flight when
But
she showed up
why?
at my job.
Why?
Because they owe me money.
So you canceled their flights?
Yes.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. So, is it a good idea for coworkers to get chummy and go on vacation together?
No, of course not.
Because?
Because you're going to work with them. You can't be friends with someone you're working with.
But that's where you meet people. Good idea, bad idea?
Bad idea.
Because?
Because it just turns into disaster.
Yeah, that's interesting. You guys are very pessimistic about life. You need to listen to me more. Going inside the courtroom.
I canceled their flights.
What right did you have to cancel their flights?
It was on
They
my
paid you
credit
for,
card.
I don't care. Not how did you cancel their flights. I know how you did. I'm asking you, what right do you have to cancel their flights when you put it on your card, they paid you for it, that's over. So the right thing to do is to go to court and then sue for whatever it is you feel you should get back when you decide that you're not going to stay at the place that had been agreed upon. And then a judge listens to both sides and decides who's right about this. What ends up happening? You get the email that it's been canceled, and then what?
And then, she did not get the refund, but because the flights were under my name, I got a credit under those two names. So
Okay.
then I rebooked tickets, but since it was only 5 days prior to the trip, the ticket prices went very high. So I got the credit, and then I bought new tickets on top of that, which added out to be $658 for 2 tickets.
Let me see proof that
Yes.
you had to pay extra because she
Yes.
canceled it to spite you.
Yeah.
And why are you suing for an extra night in rental?
Because due to her canceling my plane tickets, I had to leave on Easter because there was no flights left. So I had to pay for also an extra room for $185. Here you go. And here's even my bank statement that shows it on there. And here's the receipt from Expedia.
What did you end up doing? You rented another place.
Yeah, I stayed at a hotel.
And did you folks run into each other in Puerto Rico?
No.
No.
Okay, here's the deal. On your lawsuit against them for $1,200, zero. It is non-refundable. It is clear from the text that you're the one who bailed out. And that whether or not I find her position tenable is irrelevant. It's not that, I don't care who gets the master, okay? That's not it. It's that this was something that she was willing to work out. And let's talk about it. Let's talk about why do you have to scream? Why do you have to come at me like that? You came at me like a nut. You don't have to be such a baby. That's it. I'm out. Peace out. I'm getting my own place. I bet whatever way, that you were the one who bailed. You bail and it's non-refundable. She doesn't have to pay you back. She can't get her money back. And on the counterclaim that you folks have against her on the $658 difference in the airline ticket, yeah, because you were spiteful and vengeful and you did that in order to cost them money. So yeah, you've got to pay them back the $658. As far as the extra night, your argument is, well, we only had to have an extra night because she did that to us. The $185 is you had to pay the
For the
extra for the
night.
house?
Yeah.
Yeah, you get that too. $843, verdict for the defendants.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So the plaintiff is the big loser in this case. She's just come out of the courtroom. You're smiling, but boy, the judge feels you've got a real anger problem.
Only God can judge me. Thank you.
All right, here come the defendants. How do you feel about the outcome of this?
I figured the court case would work out in this way, but it's just a shame she had to throw away a friendship over something so silly that we could have resolved.
That's what it really sounds like.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, this friendship is gone now.
Oh, gone.
Forget that. And you lost your job.
And I lost my job.
You still out of work?
Yep.
Wow. Was the trip worth it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You had
It
a
was
great
so
time?
much fun. It was great.
Way to go.
great
That's
time.
what we need. Good. Okay, thank you. And
Thank you.
congratulations.
Thank you.
You won.
Thank
Good for you. Well, at least they're happy, Harvey. How do you think about that?
Okay, Doug, if the defendant had done something unreasonable to make her cancel, that would have been one thing, but was not the case here. Do not get your money back. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
This episode is brought to you by Walmart. New beauty is in bloom at Walmart, and it's all about springtime radiance. From Drybar, Tula Skincare, and hundreds more available online, Walmart has the premium brands you want and this season's on-trend products for flawless, glossy hair and hydrated skin. Big name beauty brands? Check. The things you love? Check. Find trending spring beauty and all you need to look and feel gorgeous at Walmart, on app and online.
Llévate más de lo que esperas todos los días con el nuevo McValue en McDonald's. Ahora puedes comprar uno y sumarle otro por $1. Así que cuando tu equipo favorito enfrenta a sus rivales, enfrenta tus antojos con $5 Meal Deals. Y si estás corriendo para alcanzar el desayuno, corre al app para llevarte ofertas antes del cutoff. Tú decides, y con McValue, tu decisión siempre rinde más. Precios y participación pueden variar. BOGO $1 válido para un producto de igual o menor valor. Debe estar registrado en Rewards para ofertas en el app.
This is the plaintiff, Piper Williams. He says he rented space from the defendants for his exercise and dance studio and was forced out because the defendants demanded a 33% rent increase and he couldn't afford it. Now they're keeping his security, making up all these things he was never charged for in his tenancy, but they claim he owes, and it's hogwash. He's suing for the rightful return of the $2,000 he's owed. These are the defendants, Sarah and Nathan. Sarah says the plaintiff tried to secretly move out and sublet the space to someone else, and that's a big no-no. Nice try, buddy. Now they have every right to keep his security for back sewer charges and snow removal the plaintiff never paid. Not to mention, he didn't give them 30 days' notice when he vacated. They're accused of illegally charging for extras. The defendants have filed a countersuit for $4,054.50 for back rent and additional snow and sewer charges.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket, the plaintiff rented space from the defendant for his exercise and dance studio, but forced out because the rent just got too damn high. But the defendants say the plaintiff was a shady tenant. It's the case of I'm exercising my right to sue.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Piper Williams?
Yes,
You
Your Honor.
are suing BK and SM Properties, LLC, represented here by Sarah and Nathan. You've asked us not to use your last names. You're the owners?
Yes.
Okay. For $2,000, the return of a security deposit that you put down on this property years ago and that they are refusing to return.
Yes, Your Honor.
You are counterclaiming against him $4,054 for monies that you say he owes that you had never collected throughout those 5 years. Tell me what's going on.
I came to Sarah and Nathan's, I came to their property first in 2010 in the fall. I was looking for a new space for an exercise and dance studio. I had signed a 2-year lease. I gave a $2,000 security deposit, and my rent was $1,000 a month. So shortly after I had, the 2 years was up, the martial arts studio, I was on the top floor. There was a martial arts studio beneath me. They had moved out. And Sarah had come to me and said, look, with all of your kickboxing and all of your salsa dancing, you make a lot of racket. So basically, you can either take over the bottom floor, you can take over both spaces, or I've got to give you the yo-heave-ho because I think it's going to be tough to find people that want that kind of racket around. Mm-hmm. And so given those options, I had taken over 2 spaces, 2 storefronts. At any rate, about maybe a year and a half after I had both storefronts, a friend of mine, Missy is her name, she was mentioning that her work was, she was in a bad position at work, always dreamed of owning a studio. Since I had taken over 2 storefronts, it had kind of sapped most of the profit out of my business. So I said, well, look, if you're looking for space, I have an extra space that isn't really helping me much.
Do you have the right to sublet?
There was nothing in my contract
Can I see your original lease? Do you have the original lease? So what did you do? Did you sublet it?
I did sublet for the same exact price, that I was paying. She was paying $2,000 for the bottom storefront. I stayed upstairs. I didn't take any security from them. She was a friend of mine. And so she just paid exactly what I was paying Sarah. Sarah met Missy. She thought that it was nice, liked what she was doing with the studio. And she told me up front, she's like, look, I don't know exactly how things are working here, but everything seems fine.
When did things go sour between all of you?
Starting in January of 2015, there was a big box gym about two doors down. They lowered their fee to what my fee was. So I went to Sarah and I told her, you're going to be seeing some changes. Things aren't going so well. And instead of doing all exercise, I think the best course of action for me is to be strictly a yoga studio. And so I told her, I let her know that things were going to be changing.
Why does your landlord need to know that?
Because what ended up happening was when all of a sudden she sees that equipment is leaving the studio, she's getting very fearful that I'm absconding or something is happening. So basically, one day I got a call, a couple of messages from her, from Sarah and from her husband, because I had listed my floor, the second floor, up on Craigslist for a possible sublet.
So he gets angry.
Well, that was the perception, yes. And he got very upset. And he said, well, you're not allowed to sublet anything. And I said, but I'm already subletting and you guys were okay. And he said, we don't feel comfortable. And I said, fine, no problem. I took down the ad immediately. And then for the next 2 weeks, we really didn't have any contact. Mm-hmm. And
did you have any discussion with somebody and say, I'm leaving?
I did not.
Okay. Is Missy still there?
Yes.
And she's paying rent to you?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so there's a $2,000 security deposit and he wants it back. Yes. And your response to that is?
Well, he didn't pay all his sewer charges.
Did he pay any of his sewer charges?
Yes, he did. Some quarters he paid and some quarters he didn't. He said, I'm working on a lawsuit, and when I get my lawsuit settled, I will pay you all the sewer bills and all the snow removal bills, but he never did.
Okay, well, did you have a lawsuit going on?
I did have a lawsuit, but it did not affect my
Okay, but how would she know? I mean, you had to have used that as an excuse for something.
Well, we would talk quite often, and she knew a great deal about me.
Okay, I know, but she's saying that, did you in fact pay some snow removal and some sewer bills?
I paid everything that was done between Sarah and I over the 5 years was done in person. Everything I gave her cash. I couldn't duck her. She always received her money.
Okay, does anybody have the proof of payment or non-payment of snow removal and sewer?
So, tenant pays in cash, supposedly, doesn't get a receipt. Screwed?
Pretty much, yes. He doesn't have any paper trail to prove the cash that he paid.
Is there any way a tenant can prove to a judge through character, I paid?
No.
No.
No, you can't.
You need a receipt.
It's the tenant's responsibility to make sure that he has a paper trail.
What if it's somebody like Gandhi? And he comes into court and says, you've got to believe me, I wouldn't lie. The Pope. How about the Pope?
I think he would still be screwed.
Oh, the Pope is screwed? Okay, going inside the courtroom.
How did you figure out what he'd paid and what he had? Because you're going back now 6 years almost. So or 5 years. How did you figure out?
Well, I looked over my ledgers and
Can I see your ledgers?
I don't
then?
have.
Did he ever pay?
Wait, you went through your ledgers, but I can't go through your ledgers?
Did he ever?
They're at home.
They're at home? What are they doing at home? You're being sued over this. Go ahead, light into her. What, did you bring the ledgers? Before you light into her, did you bring the ledgers?
I'm asking her.
Does he have proof that he paid me? Because he always paid in cash.
I want to know first, do you have proof?
No, I don't have my ledgers with me.
Because that's what I'd like to see of how it is that because we're on your counterclaim. You have the burden of proving the counterclaim. So I want to know how you come to $4,000. That is your burden to prove. Right. So you brought nothing? Correct?
I brought the bills.
Okay, fair enough. She would like to see proof. She would like me to ask you, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Can you please show me proof of having paid snow removal bills?
As I said, Your Honor, everything was, it's a little bit of a he said, she said when everything was done.
But it is true that if you're paying in cash for something, you should be getting a receipt for that something.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Your Honor, could I say something?
Yeah.
He never paid anything.
She says he did.
No.
She just said he did.
Did he pay any of the water in your...
The sewer?
Yes. Let me tell you, my wife, I'll just tell you where I come in. We help manage the property, but she's on a day-to-day basis with them, and she's very kind to them. She lets them get away with murder.
Okay.
When she needs a bulldog, I get involved. He says that we texted or called him. I never called him in my life. I haven't seen him since the first day he moved in.
Okay.
Maybe one time other just to cover myself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a licensed real estate agent. Now, did you show the ad?
I think she's going to smack your hand if you shove it in her face one more time.
I don't think so.
All right.
I don't think so. She'll wait till we go out.
No, I gotcha. I understand that. Look, your lease, let's just go over a couple things. Number one, your lease says you pay for snow removal.
Yes.
Number two, so I'm going to need to see proof of what you paid for snow removal. Because I am seeing proof of what she paid for snow removal. All right? Number two, your lease says you pay for sewage. So you're going to have to prove to me that you paid for sewage. Number three, your lease specifically says that you don't have the right to sublet. Okay, now I understand you're on a month-to-month, but you don't get greater rights on a month-to-month than you had in your lease.
Yes, sure.
You knew you couldn't sublet, and you were subletting all over the place. Now, what am I supposed to do with zero proof here about what was paid and what wasn't paid? This is, by the way, the 209 is what? Snow removal or sewage?
No, sewer ledger from Howell Township Sewer. And I told him that going over my ledgers, my bucks, that he actually owes me more money than I owe him.
And then do you tell him just walk away?
I didn't, and then I didn't hear from him anymore.
And then he sued you.
Exactly. And also, he didn't pay the snow removal from the downstairs either, but I'm not suing for the downstairs. I just did it on the upstairs.
Did you like him?
I did like him. And I still, as a person, he's, I really try to be very nice, and nice people finish last. And when I do get into trouble, he
I tell her not to get too friendly with the tenants.
I've learned a lesson.
You've learned a lesson?
And I'm always learning
Business
lessons.
is business. If it was in my hands, it wouldn't come to
well,
this,
if
Your Honor.
business is business, also, you should be giving out receipts when somebody pays you cash so that because anytime they say, but I paid you cash, you should be able to say, show me a receipt, right? That's part of business. You should, when you're sued, come into court with ledgers. And if you pay cash, you should be having proof that you paid cash.
Yes, Your Honor.
And here's what's going to happen. Going to kind of split the baby, and I'm going to allow you to keep the $2,000 of the security deposit. That's what I'm going to do. And by the way, you would owe December if you hadn't, if you didn't give any notice, which it kind of sounds like
Your
you
Honor,
didn't.
I was already told.
I don't care if you're gone. You were not. It doesn't matter. You still have to give notice of when you're leaving.
I wasn't gone. I wasn't even told to leave until December 1st at 10:27.
Can you show me proof of all the snow removals that you paid?
I cannot.
Because it's getting very close to being a $4,000 judgment. So I'm going to call it the draw that you were willing to call it. That's what's going to happen.
Okay, both sides, hold on, please.
So this is a case where the lack of proof on both sides hurt both parties. Really, that's the whole problem here. You couldn't prove what you were trying to say to the judge, right?
Right.
To get across. And you and your husband were kind of a little mixed up, but that was kind of funny, I thought he was going to really hurt your case, That was...
Oh, me?
Yeah, when you didn't agree with your wife. But that's okay. Sorry, that's the way the court has decided. You must sign some documents, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now the plaintiff is on his way out of the courtroom. You didn't get your deposit back, so
No, I did not.
That's it again. You didn't have proof either, so...
No, proof certainly would have been the difference maker. Truth is good, but proof is better. So.
You've learned a valuable lesson. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Harvey?
Doug, got to say, you are an idiot if you don't get a receipt from the landlord. They do not have your best interests in mind. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
Hilton brings you new ways to stay, with experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
These are the plaintiffs, Brian and Bella Sears. Brian says the defendant's menace to society pit bull basically ate one of their puppies. And the defendant doesn't seem to care to do the right thing about it. He could have sold that puppy for a lot of money because it was a King Cavalier, and they're in demand right now. He's suing for $2,200, the value of his dead puppy. This is the defendant, Sandra Berg. She says she was in a fenced-in yard alone with her dog, and the plaintiff's dog caretaker allowed 2 puppies to enter, and a fight ensued. Her dog was the only dog listed on the lease in the building they live in. The plaintiff's puppies have no right using that yard, and she's sorry the drunk caretaker let him in there, but she's not responsible for what happened. She's accused of denying accountability.
All parties, please use your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiffs say the defendant's pit bull literally ate one of their puppies, but the defendant says the pups came into her yard. It's the case of what you eatin'.
Thanks, Douglas.
You're welcome,
Brian
ma'am.
Sears and Bella Sears, am I pronouncing your last name correctly? According to you folks, the defendant's dog defendant's pit bull killed one of your puppies. Is that correct? Tell me how this happened. Were you present?
No.
No. Okay. Tell me what you understand to have happened.
The day of the incident, my male Cavalier King Charles Spaniel had eye surgery. He had an eye removed. And because of his tender condition, I let my caretaker take the 2 puppies out of the kennel area over to where she lived to keep them away from the other dog.
Okay. Who is your caretaker?
She does work for me. She lives in the same building with Sandra, and she basically takes care of...
Of what?
She takes care of property.
Okay, so go ahead. How many dogs do you have?
Well, in the house there's 6.
Do you breed?
Yes.
Okay, so go on.
She took the 2 puppies to her place to care for them for the evening, and after about an hour or so, I get a call from her saying that one of the puppies was killed. And I went over there to the property, and the dog was dead. The police were called.
Under what circumstances did it happen? What did she tell you?
She said that she took the puppies out of the building to do their potty break, and as soon as they left the building, they were attacked.
And went where?
Went into the common walkway.
Of the building?
Of the building.
And is that common walkway inside of a fenced area?
Yes.
All right, and...
Excuse me, but the front is not fenced.
Well, the part where the puppies were that she took them out to, was it fenced?
Yes.
Not all the way.
It was fenced in the backyard.
It's either fenced or it's not. Was she taking out 2 puppies without a leash to an area that was open?
Yes.
She was?
Yes. There's a staircase that goes up and
wow,
down.
your caretaker needs to be talked to.
Thank you.
Okay, so go on.
So I received a call that one of the puppies...
You were there, right?
Yes.
What is it that... do you two have a... do you rent to her?
Yes.
She's your tenant?
She was.
Yes.
Okay, she was your tenant. All right, but you also have a familial relationship?
Yes.
What's that?
She's my son's mother-in-law.
Oh, this is awkward.
Very.
Wow. Oh, what do the kids think? No one cares what the kids think?
No, I care what the kids think.
You do? Okay. All right, what happened?
Well, it was pretty much like he said. You know, I walked out early. I did send you a video of the property so you could see how it happened, and I could explain.
Let's take a look at that. Hold on. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm coming up to the back door, and this is the side entrance to the property. And if you go in the door, up the steps to the left, like 5 steps, my apartment's on the right. If you go down the steps to the right is Sue's apartment.
Okay, that's great, but here's my question. When you come out with your dog's a pit bull?
Yes.
Okay, did you come out of this door or that back door?
No, that door right where I'm standing.
Okay, this door?
Yes.
Okay, so you come out with your pit bull, and your pit bull's on a leash?
Yeah, I had it on a leash and a
then you
harness
take your
at
pit
that
bull,
point.
You take your pit bull where?
Right
in
where
here?
I'm in, and you could see how the gate sticks without bricks. There was no reason to stack the cinder blocks in front of it, which she had been doing for a whole month, and I kept asking her why. Because it stays open all by its own, but she kept repeatedly
Who's
putting...
she?
Sue.
Who's Sue, the caretaker?
Yes.
All right. So now you come in here with your pit bull, and
Yes.
there's a cinder block there, and what do?
It was so quiet, there was nothing going on, so I unhooked her, and each door I came out of, I says, I'm coming out with Molly, and nobody was answering. It was quiet as...
Okay, so you took the pit bull off the hook,
Right
off the leash, and then what did you do with this gate?
I bent down to move the cinder blocks before I could even touch one. She opened the door and let the puppies out.
And
right
she
there.
came out of which door? The one
same
that's
door
up?
I did.
Oh, the same one you did?
Yeah, she came out of the basement, and my apartment is solid hardwood floor.
But there's no question that you were out with the dog first.
First.
And those puppies, okay. Those puppies don't normally stay there.
No.
Okay. So you are suing her for $2,200, which represents the loss of sale on the puppy that one of the puppies died, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm very sorry about that. Please explain to me what she did wrong.
So if your son's mother-in-law did something really super bad, would you sue?
No, of course not, because you would be destroying your relationship with your family member.
What if it were for $5,000?
No.
You know I can win this, don't you, eventually? Going inside the courtroom.
What she did wrong was not close that gate into the yard. What she did wrong was to have a dog not under her control. What she did wrong was that that dog was not trained and is a menace. It has bitten, it bit my chocolate lab 6 months previous to that.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Because here's what we're going to do now. We're going to talk about everything you did wrong. Number one, you gave 2 puppies to a caretaker who doesn't have the sense that God gave a billy goat. Because if you know and you're on notice that there's a bad pit bull that bit your lab before, then the last thing that you ought to do is send the puppies over to that place with her when she lets 2 puppies out without a leash, without checking to see if the bad pit bull is in its own castle at the time. Are you kidding me? This family rift over this?
Your Honor, I have...
Tell me how you don't think this is your fault for sending the puppies where a bad dog lives that you know is a bad dog. I'm saying bad dog. The dog's an animal. I know people think that they're like your sons and daughters. They're animals.
Your Honor?
So, no, wait, put your hand down and don't interrupt me. So here's what the issue is. The courts of law do not look and say, murderer to the pit bull. What we do is we look at the conduct of the adults, the human beings that were involved. So let's analyze this a second. She's in her own home. She's in a fenced-in area. Okay? She's got her dog by a leash. She's got her dog in the dog's own place. She's bending over now to go ahead and then 2 puppies who don't belong there become pit bull chow because the person bringing them out isn't paying attention to who's already there and belongs there. I don't understand. This is a very unfortunate, sad thing that happened, but tell me how it's her fault. This is where the dog belongs, at the dog's house. The dog, this is predictable behavior, especially from a dog that apparently doesn't get along with other dogs.
Right.
Has it ever been a human?
No, it does. It loves people. It just doesn't love other dogs.
I'm all ears. You had your hand up and you wanted to interrupt me. Let's hear you first because she had her hand up. Go ahead.
Your Honor, I happen to have said exactly the same thing you said to my husband. Okay? I feel that the woman who was taking care of the puppies, they were so tiny that I would have never stepped out the door without them in my arms.
In your arms,
Exactly. And that's what my deal was that, and I told her that. I called her because I went to pick up the live one right after that.
Sure.
And I said, and she was, you could tell she had been drinking. She was in there screaming and
And actually, that's what you said, that she had a beer can in her hand. Who is she to you? Why isn't she fired?
She's nobody.
Is she fired?
She's a tenant also.
No, she was evicted also.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he evicted her, and I evicted the other one.
Okay, have you 2 talked since this?
Yes, me and Belle, I have.
Okay.
I mean, that's how I feel. I'm sorry.
No, how long have you 2 been married?
21 or 22 years.
How's it going? Because it's going to be an interesting car ride home, I can tell you that.
No, we both
You agree to
know,
disagree.
We agreed to disagree because
There you
he
go.
knows how strongly I feel about this. That I feel that the person who was taking care of the puppies was not responsible.
That's right. And if you know her and you know she's irresponsible and you know that she drinks and you know that she's taking the dogs over to where a dog that you know has bitten other dogs and is territorial and is a pit bull in the past, then maybe, just maybe, you shouldn't have filed this lawsuit against your son's mother-in-law. That's kind of my thinking. But you know what? You two discuss it on the ride home. Okay? You should have just listened to your wife. If you haven't learned that in 21 years, I don't know what you're going to learn. Verdict for the defendant.
Thank you.
So the defendant prevails. The plaintiff is on his way out of the courtroom. You lost, unfortunately, not only a puppy, you lost a lawsuit. Maybe you learned something. After more than 20 years of marriage, you should listen to your wife. What do you think?
I think I should have left her at home.
I left her at home. No, you didn't learn to listen. You are going to have an interesting ride home.
Yeah.
What about the relationship between you guys? There's a family relationship between. Has it really hurt that? What do you think?
I think we can mend things, and we've already begun to mend things, and everything will be okay.
Well, that's good. Do you feel the same way about that?
Yeah, but I don't feel like I got to present enough evidence on the character of
The judge heard all she needed to hear.
I guess so.
That was it. Cut and dry. You lose.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Well, thank you.
Officer McIntosh has some documents you must sign. He's right out there waiting for you. Here comes the defendant now. You know, that really, again, unfortunate that this had to happen. A lot of people would wonder why you have a pit bull, because you know how many pit bull cases we get in this court?
She was a street rescue puppy, and we found her when she was 4 months old, and that's why she thinks that she's supposed to be the only dog around.
You're okay? You're not afraid?
No. We've
All
had,
right.
she's 2.5. We've had her.
Well, are you going to be friends with them?
Yes.
It's going to work out okay?
Yes.
Good enough.
My daughter and her son have been married for 17 years, so we
Okay.
can't break that
Good
up.
enough. All right. Thank you so much. Interesting case, Harvey. What do you think?
I mean, the problem here, the plaintiffs let the dog go into an area that had a known danger.